25%. Now, if you look at the number of people employed by the Palestinian Authority, it comes to about 25%. So the only people in what you said Abbas represents the Palestinian people. No, he doesn't. When was the last election in the West Bank? Can you tell the audience?
Have you? This the same words
you said.
Uttered by
when was the last?
When was
the last election?
The representative of the state
when
of
was
Israel
the last
said
election?
exactly these words at the Assembly of the United Nations, inciting against the Palestinian Authority. So he is happy to hear you discrediting and delegitimizing the Palestinian Authority. This is what Danny Danon has said.
You said he represents.
Of course
the Palestinian people. When was the last election? When was the last election?
Well, we tried to hold elections in 2021, and
when was the last election? Please answer the question.
So we had the choice. Either we hold elections without Jerusalem,
I didn't ask you
or we hold elections.
Yeah, I'm just asking you a simple, factual question.
We're not in the classroom, Mr. Finkelstein.
All right, we're going to leave this here. This is a debate. We might move this on because we're...
I said that too. On Hamas. And that's pretty disgusting.
I did not say that.
And
I thought you understand better English than me.
And you are a repellent reptile. You're a reptile.
Okay, let's again, Norman. I respectfully request you to not use slurs against our other guests. I'm going to move us on to our next segment because we've got a lot for a discussion on the latest on this ceasefire deal is Norman Finkelstein, a political scientist and author of the new book Gaza's Gravediggers, an inquiry into corruption in high places. Dr. Jamal Nazal is back with us, a spokesperson for the Palestinian political party Fatah. And rounding out our panel is Hussein Abdul Hussein, a research fellow at the Foundation for Defence of Democracies. Gentle, already looking shaky whether international pro-Palestinian rallies will continue or be forgotten, and if it's too soon to revive normalisation discussions with Israel. Joining us, the October 7 attacks and returned them to Israel. But that is exactly what Hamas signed on to, agreeing to do it within 72 hours. And yet it has failed to uphold that side of the agreement. And that has caused consternation across the border in Israel. Norman, are you surprised that this ceasefire is already looking shaky?
There are two things to say. Number one, I find it positively disgusting that you're framing this as a failure on the part of Hamas. Are you not aware, can you really not be aware that there are 50 million tons of rubble in Gaza? Are you not aware that according to the international humanitarian organizations, it'll take until the year 2050 to clear out the rubble in Gaza?
And yet Hamas knows this too, but they still agreed to it.
Excuse me. If Hamas says it can't find some of the bodies in the rubble, you're now blaming them for that? Can you possibly comprehend how outrageous a statement that is?
Okay.
And the fact that while we're all talking about the buried hostage bodies in Gaza, there are literally, conservatively, thousands of Palestinian bodies buried in Gaza. Are you not concerned about them as well?
It's not a zero-sum game. We can be concerned about both things at the same time.
Yeah, but you didn't mention the other bodies.
Because it's the first question of our debate, sir, and that's where we're beginning. Why don't I hand it over to Hussein and see what's your take on it? Do you think it's a failing on Hamas, or do you think that Norman has a very valid point there?
Yeah, of course, if you sign on a deal wherein you commit to do something, it's advisable that you do it. And this is on both sides. If the Israelis kept their part of the bargain, I think it's only logical for Hamas to keep their part of the bargain. But that really doesn't concern me. I think sooner or later, Hamas will find these bodies. They'll probably surface and they'll probably hand them back to the Israelis. What concerns me, and this is from a point of view of someone on the Arab side, is the brutality that Hamas is showing even before the ink has, even before it's done with its part of the deal with Israel, that they're going after rivals inside of Gaza, killing them, executing them cold-bloodedly on camera. That's what worries me. I think, that part of the deal with Israel, I think the whole world is behind it. The whole world is focused on it. Everyone knows what's going on. But no one is focused on these Palestinians who are being shot dead, even though over the past 2 years, the world was really angry at Palestinians losing their lives in this war. But all of a sudden, these hapless Palestinians seem to be killed with no one worried about it. Even President Trump said, I'm okay with that. It doesn't worry me. The only statement that I saw came from Bradley Cooper, the chief of CENTCOM, who said this is not okay and Hamas should stop doing it. But I don't think that's flying. I don't think Hamas is really listening to anyone. And as this goes on, I think, that's what really worries me more than, the rest of the deal between Hamas and Israel.
I can see you shaking your head there. Jamal, what's your take?
I believe the burden of proof is basically on Israel. After all, more than 10,000 Palestinian individuals from Gaza are missing. They are not accounted for. Nobody knows where they are. It is logical to assume that Israel has kidnapped a lot of Palestinian individuals, and they are they have been killed, or their remains may be kept in Israel, hidden by Israel. Maybe Israel is hoping to exchanging them sometime for something, or keeping them forever. There are a lot of remains of Palestinian individuals also in the West Bank who haven't been handed over to their families. So Israel has a long history of torturing Palestinians also on the psychological level, and they know how much of suffering this causes to Palestinian families. When it comes to Hamas, it's really, really, really hard to defend the devil, because Hamas is no lesser a devil than Israel, in spite of the fact that Israel is the aggressor. Israel is the initiator of this conflict. Israel is really and has always been keen on keeping this conflict ongoing for probably forever. And I know Israel is only looking for excuses to resume the hostilities against the Palestinians. And I know if Hamas fails to deliver the remains of the Israeli hostages, I think Israel will find the proper excuse to launch the war once again. What worries me most is the fact that either Israel and the United States have really turned a blind eye on what Hamas is doing to the Palestinian people at this moment. All these executions on the street are a very dangerous endeavor that Hamas has engaged itself with. And it is taking revenge on Palestinian families, calling them collaborators. So if they are collaborators of Israel, as Hamas claims them to be, why is the United States turning a blind eye to these atrocities? We are fed up with what Israel has done to us. We don't need to see these atrocities taking place at the hand of Hamas. So I hope that this plan will be carried out so that we can open a political horizon once all of this mess is removed. But who knows what the real intention of Israel is? I'm not the one who can tell.
Norman, what do you make of those statements? I mean, is the burden on Israel here? Is Hamas the one putting it in jeopardy?
I do not believe that we are going to get anywhere past the exchange of hostages for a handful of Gazan prisoners being held in Israel. And I would want to emphasize... You don't think it will move to phase two? Well, no. What's going to happen, in my opinion, obviously, when you talk about the future, you're engaging in speculation. But I would call mine speculation informed speculation. After each of Israel's high-tech killing sprees in Gaza, namely Operation Cast Lead in 2008-9, Operation Pillar of Defense in 2012, Operation Protective Edge in 2014, and even after Israel murdered 10 passengers on the Mavi Marmara in 2010. After each of those events, those high-tech killing sprees, Israel promised to lift the blockade of Gaza. Did it lift the blockade? No. Each time the international community said the blockade of Gaza was illegal and unsustainable. Did that stop Israel from continuing the blockade? No. And the events of October 7th were a direct result of this brutal medieval blockade of Gaza. There is no reason to suppose that this time Israel is going to even relax, let alone lift the blockade of Gaza. What will happen is, once the cameras disappear, when I say cameras, I mean the international cameras, once they disappear, we're going to return to the status quo ante October 7th with one big difference. There's nothing left in Gaza. 95% of the housing in Gaza has been pulverized.
Hamas did a catastrophic mistake doing the October 7th the way it did it. I wish it didn't take place. I wish it didn't happen. But I think this is the best day of Benjamin Netanyahu's life. Without October 7th, he most probably would have been ousted. He would be out of power, or he may be even in prison. However, let's not turn a blind eye on the genocide. And I don't think the ceasefire is the end of the genocide. Rejected all this. Instead, they decided to go this path, this dangerous path, and we ended up with Gaza completely destroyed. People are on the street. The situation as it is well known to everyone. Mm-hmm. How do we go from here? How do we go from here? If Hamas doesn't carry on its commitments according to the plan it has signed, Israel will find the excuse to restart the war. If it goes on, we don't know if these promises are true or false. But what choices are left?
Norman?
It's regrettable that your two other guests seem not to be aware of what Hamas agreed to. I am not here to defend Hamas, and I am not here for no reason at all because I have some particular personal animus towards the state of Israel. I have only two concerns: what's truthful and what's just. Mm-hmm. Now let's start with the truthful. Your two guests, if they are capable of reading, will know
we are
that
capable.
Hamas agreed. Okay, then you are. Then let's remember, what was Hamas's statement? Did Hamas agree to disarm? In its statement, did it agree to disarm? Let's have a simple yes or no, because you're accusing Hamas.
Well, I think Hamas can read both Arabic and English, and I think they know what they have signed.
I didn't ask you what you think. I'm asking for facts.
I thought you did.
It's called.
I thought you asked me. I'm sorry,
my friend. It's called truth, my friend. Did Hamas, in its reply to the 20-point so-called peace plan, ceasefire plan, did it agree to disarm? Or did it make an explicit stipulation that those questions or their response to those questions would come later? Did they agree to disarm?
Mm-hmm. Jamal?
I would like to hear a clear yes or no.
Are you asking me? I really don't care what Hamas says, but I've heard what Mr. Trump, your president, said yesterday. I didn't ask you what you care about.
They said, you're blaming Hamas for breaking the agreement. So I'm asking a simple question. It's not difficult.
I didn't, Mr.
It's not
Finkelstein. If I may, with all due respect, Hamas has not yet broken the agreement. this still is to be seen. They may honor the agreement.
Thank you.
Or they
now
may
let
break
me hear
it.
that.
This is up in the air. I
let
don't
me
know.
hear that from your other guests.
Just one sentence, please.
Let's hear it from the other guests.
President
Did Hamas agree to disarm?
This is my answer. Yes, this is my answer. First of all, I find it ironic that the New Yorker is lecturing two Arab natives on what should and should not happen between Hamas and the other guys, whether in Gaza or in Lebanon. This is number one. Number two, long before Hamas committed the atrocity of killing 1,200 Israelis, it killed 350 Palestinians in 2007 from the Palestinian Authority. Their names are still there on the website. You can, and thank you for the correction, you can check it out. Hezbollah did the same. It killed so many Lebanese before it engaged in war with Israel. So as Lebanese and Palestinians, we want Hamas to be disarmed long before the war in Gaza happened, long before October 7 happened. Now it just happens that all of us are aligned to see Hamas disarmed. This should not take from
I
any
agree.
other debate.
I agree with you. I agree with you. All the Arab slaves and stooges would like to see Hamas disarmed. I agree with that point.
If you can resist using slurs against our other guests, we will keep things civil and we can debate
Those
the
are
points.
not slurs. Those are dictionary definition words. A slave and a stooge.
Yes, but
who are paid generously. People who are paid
I'm sure Mr. Hussein would
serve the interests of
Mr. Hussein, is that how you consider yourself? Just to give you a chance to reply to Norman there.
Why are you attacking everyone who didn't attack you? Or you should attack us if we disagree with you on something. I still did not see why. Where did we disagree?
And let's just let Mr.
Where do you disagree with anything I said? What's your disagreement with what I said?
I'll answer that question because Israel just committed the genocide in Gaza and you're blaming the whole thing on Hamas. And that's pretty disgusting.
I did not say that.
And
I thought you understand better English than me.
And you are a repellent reptile. You're a reptile.
Okay, let's again, Norman. I respectfully request you to not use slurs against our other guests. I'm going to move us on to our next segment because we've got
25%. Now, if you look at the number of people employed by the Palestinian Authority, it comes to about 25%. So the only people in what you said Abbas represents the Palestinian people. No, he doesn't. When was the last election in the West Bank? Can you tell the audience?
Have you? The same words
you said. When was the last election?
The representative of the state
when
of
was
Israel
the last
said
election?
exactly these words at the Assembly of the United Nations, inciting against the Palestinian Authority. So he is happy to hear you discrediting and delegitimizing the Palestinian Authority. This is what Danny Danon has said.
You said he represents.
Of course
the Palestinian people. When was the last election? When was the last election?
Well, we tried to hold elections in 2021, and then
when was the last election? Please answer the question.
So
when
we had the choice. Either we hold elections without Jerusalem,
I didn't ask you that.
Or we hold elections.
Yeah, I'm just asking you a simple, factual question.
We're not in the classroom, Mr. Finkelstein.
All right, we're going to leave this here. This is a debate. We might move this on because we're